Ever feel like your marketing message is just shouting into the void? Well, if that sounds familiar, this blueprint is for you. Today, we're going to break down exactly how to define your ideal customer profile and your buyer personas to get that razor-sharp focus. This is all about making sure your message not only reaches the right people, but actually lands with some serious impact.
So, let's start with the single most important rule in messaging, period. You might have tons of different customer types, right? But if you try to talk to all of them at once, your message gets so watery, so generic, that it doesn't connect with anyone. The real key isn't to broaden your message, it's to narrow your focus with a really powerful entry point. We're going to call that the wedge.
Okay, so to get that kind of focus, we have to build a solid foundation first. And that just means getting our definitions straight and really truly understanding the problem we're trying to solve before we even think about the messaging. The whole process follows a pretty clear path. It all starts with gathering what's called competitive intelligence, or CI. That's really just about listening for signals from the outside world. What language are your buyers using? What's happening in their market? We take all those signals, we turn them into a hypothesis about our persona, and that becomes the bedrock for everything else we do.
Now, this is a big one. It is absolutely crucial to understand the difference between these two terms. Your ICP, your ideal customer profile, that's all about the company fit. Which organizations are just perfectly built to get massive value from your product. But the persona, that's about the human fit. Who are the actual people inside that company dealing with the pain, feeling the risk, and most importantly, holding the authority to actually do something about it?
A strong ICP isn't just a guess. It's built on data. You get that data by combining signals from the inside, like what are the common objections your sales team hears? What do your best customers say success looks like? With signals from the outside that show you who else could buy. Looking at job descriptions is a goldmine. It tells you their KPIs. Reading the articles they read tells you what stories they already believe. So you do all this work, you gather all this data, and it leads you to this one massive question that every team with limited resources has to ask. When you could, in theory, go after anyone, where do you actually start? How do you pick? And the answer is a super disciplined approach called the Wedge Method. It's all about forcing yourself to have extreme focus, to establish a strong, undeniable foothold in one very specific area before you've earned the right to go wider. For your first version of this, your first attempt, you absolutely must choose a single wedge. That's it. That means one primary company type, one primary person inside that company, and one specific trigger or buying moment. Everybody else, they're secondary. They're on the back burner until you have totally nailed that first entry point. The goal of a persona isn't just a list of facts and demographics. That's useless. The goal is to get to true qualitative depth. A great persona document captures the reality of how someone's job actually works day in and day out. That is the secret sauce that makes your messaging finally resonate. And this is what makes a persona a genuinely helpful tool instead of just another document nobody reads. You have to understand their day-to-day. What does success look like for them? What graph are they personally trying to move up and to the right? What are their real motivations? And what are the triggers, those sudden pains that make them look for a solution right now? And maybe most importantly, what kind of proof do they need to see before they'll ever believe a word you say? Okay, so you do the work. You've got this amazing persona document. Great. But how do you take that and build it into a system that can actually scale? Let's talk about how to do that and how to avoid the #1 trap that trips up so many teams. To really make this work at scale, you've got to get your personas out of static PowerPoint slides or Word docs. Think of them as structured data, almost like a database. Each key attribute becomes a field. From there, that data can automatically generate standardized, approved pages, which all feed into a single source of truth, your persona library. And look, you don't have to boil the ocean here. You can roll this out in phases. Phase 1 might be totally manual, just simple page approvals. Then in Phase 2, you can bring in some low-code tools to streamline things. And down the road in Phase 3, you can even have AI drafting updates based on new intel, which then just needs a quick sign-off from a real human. It's a totally practical way to get to smart automation. All right, if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The biggest risk you face isn't picking the wrong wedge to start with. The real failure, the thing that will absolutely sink this whole effort, is trying to please everyone, and as a result, choosing no wedge at all. So let's wrap this all up. Here's your simple 3-step blueprint. First, pick one primary buyer and commit to them. Second,
Do the deep, hard work to capture the reality of their job, not just some cartoon version of it. And third, and this is key, only expand to other personas when you have cold, hard evidence that it's the right move.
So remember, focus is a strategic choice. It's not a limitation. This blueprint gives you a clear, confident way to make that choice. So the only real question left is, now that you have your wedge, which market are you going to own first?